Oh, ladies and gents, I am a huge proponent of Mortal Kombat. Since the first trailer, in fact, I threw everything I thought out the window. Because I saw it and I was like, I thought this was going to be absolute trash and it looked amazing. So I'm a massive proponent of it. But oh dear, this guy, this producer, Todd Garner, my dude, he's trying to clarify why Johnny Cage is not in the movie. We know he's not in the movie, and we know now that he's definitely not in the movie. A lot of people thought that Cole was going to be Johnny Cage. Johnny Cage was going to be his stage name, his cage fighter name. But we know he's definitely not in the movie because some of these comments are so bad. It's basically saying he literally says I didn't feel comfortable having a white male in the film. Oh God, I really want to like it. Look, I still like Mortal Kombat, of course, from everything I've seen of it anyway, and I'll still give it a very fair review. But it needs to be said, Todd, not that you're watching this, although you have been very interactive on Twitter, you just need to shut up, man. Like, there are no interviews that you've done at the moment that is painting this in a good way. Either that, or you need to come on a channel like this and have an extended interview where you can really explain it. Because saying things along the lines of, I didn't feel comfortable having a white male lead in a film, is not going to go down well. It's just not. It's polarizing. You just can't, everything he's now said subsequently makes some sense, right? But when you start there, everything else looks like damage control. And that's the problem. So let's dive into it. Okay? He did an interview with Inverse. Okay, on March 17th. Garner stated, I feel like if I was getting to make a movie with a diverse cast, it felt weird to have a white actor, literally Johnny Cage, be the hero of the story. Now, you don't have to have Johnny Cage be the hero of the story. You can just have him in the film. Now, I know a lot of people wouldn't have been happy with that anyway. But there's nothing to say that if he's in the film, pops up in the third act, and then the lead of this one dies, I'm just saying for argument's sake, he dies, then they establish that the sequel will be about Johnny Cage, right? There's no way that couldn't have worked. These kind of comments just show a complete lack of creativity, and I don't know who you're pandering to here. I mean, I do, but they're the wrong people to pander to, Todd, because they're not fans of Mortal Kombat. Please, you do need to learn that fans and activists are very different. Okay, they're very, very different things. Fans are consumers. Activists generally are not. Cater to the fans. Okay? Please. Especially in this regard. Because even this type of activism it's not going to sell. It's not going to do you very well. Not for such a small property. Like Mortal Kombat, yes, it has a fairly large fan base. And it's a big property in terms of it spanning a lot of years. But it's not huge. It's not Star Wars, and even Star Wars has struggled because of its insult to fandoms. So, I don't know what to say. Now, both articles I'm going to cover are actually down below in the description box, so please do check them out. Now, Garner has then tweeted out a story from Digital Spy that provides a completely different answer for Johnny Cage's removal from the Mortal Kombat film. So he did that first one, and then he follows on with this. This is what I mean, just the answers keep changing. I love Johnny Cage and can't wait to do more with the character, basically. It's kind of, leading on from there. Now, in the article, which was posted on March 18th, but appears to be from the same press conference as the quotes from Inverse, because they were just doing Zoom meetings and just going round outlets, Garner explains the reason Cage is not in the first movie is because they are saving him for a sequel. Garner stated, I want to make a sequel, but I've now got Johnny Cage, which hasn't been used in the first one. Which is actually a really good reason. Of course it is. But the reason why you're saying he wasn't in the first one, no, is bad. He would go on to say, So I have a big stick and carrot that maybe they'll let me have a Johnny Cage real presence in the second one. And secondarily, when you think about Mortal Kombat, if you just think about the patina of the movie, it has a very Asian feel to it. And I early on felt uncomfortable having a white male lead. Having a white male lead kind of lead that charge in the movie. I mean, you don't have to. There's nothing that... This does not come across good, man. And I think it looks great, the movie. But even I'm struggling here. I'm struggling to... I can't defend you. Like, I can't. I've got to have some integrity, right? Now, the producer then stated, is it a cop-out to all of a sudden have Ryan Reynolds, not him, but as the lead, felt a little disingenuous to me and super easy to bring him in a big bombastic fun way in the second. To say you want him in the second film and you want him as the lead in the second film, great. What are you talking about? It makes you feel uncomfortable having a white male lead. What? Why does it make you uncomfortable? That's racism, man. His ethnicity's got no relevance. Jesus. And Digital Spy concluded their coverage with Garner stating, and he deserves that as a character. I love these characters, so we thought hard about it. And then obviously Twitter happened and people were like, what are you doing, mate? So here's some tweet interactions, and this is where you just go, oh, dude, you're just digging yourself a hole. So basically, Todd Garner doesn't think Mortal Kombat is diverse enough and white men need to be erased, despite Cage being a favourite since the conception of Mortal Kombat in the 90s movie. It's very racist, and him also being a white rich man makes it even more ironic. Couldn't agree more. And Todd would reply, and I'll give Todd this, he hasn't buried his head in the sand. He has replied to these people. Man, that's not what I want at all. I love Johnny Cage. His story just doesn't fit into this story. If you see the movie and disagree, hit me up. And they quoted, and I early on felt uncomfortable having a white male lead kind of lead that charge in the first movie. Why? The game mostly regards Liu Kang as the main character, and no one had any issues with that in the first movie adaptation with Robin Shou. It's more about his story. I want to focus on that story. We have a story we love that we are telling, and we didn't want to short shrift JC in that story. That's reasonable, but why does a white male make you uncomfortable, man? I don't know, unless you're turning him into the lead for the second movie, wouldn't that be problematic? Well, yeah, if you're sitting here saying it feels uncomfortable having a white male lead, you sort of sound like an idiot here. What I mean is, as part of the audience, I don't have problems with white males being leads, despite me being Mexican. Again, I couldn't agree more. If you have a problem with anyone being a lead of a different ethnicity, you're a racist. No, he's a huge character, so we have somewhere totally new to go with the sequel. Think about how MCU adds characters. That's it. We never want to rehash. And these things are good answers, but you're not. You know you're fudged up, Todd, because you're not getting to the core point that people are raising. Then why didn't you explain like that in the interview? Because the mention of white male lead led people to another context, instead of mentioning having other plans for the character. Because we did interviews for 6 hours in groups of 10 over Zoom for 15 minutes each. Not an excuse, just facts. If anyone wants to get the unfiltered answers, I'm here. God, I really hope this is the case, because otherwise it's just damage control and it's bad. And then obviously, people are quoting this. Same kind of thing. He stated, I feel like if I was getting to make a movie with a diverse cast, it felt weird to have a white actor, literally Johnny Cage, be the hero of that story. Did you actually comment about the character's race as a matter of interest? This seems to have angered quite a few people. Maybe it's just the way it was framed, but it comes across badly, if the reaction is anything to go by. I just felt like telling JC's story over all the others didn't feel right in the first movie. That being said, when you see the movie, you will see, obviously, we have plans for JC. So they are apparently setting him up, which is good, but you don't need to do interviews where you're commenting on it making you feel uncomfortable. That's weird, man. There's no two ways about it. That's weird. It's very odd that it makes you feel uncomfortable. Yeah. So this all happened quite a lot. And then someone says, look, what do you mean by it didn't feel right to start with JC's story? Any more context there? Yes. He's too important and too big of a character to just jam into the story we told. We have a big story for him, but we felt we had so much story to start with in terms of the rules, lore, and history of Mortal Kombat. I sincerely hope you keep your word. We already had enough Last Jedi and Dark Fates for 1 century. Yeah, absolutely. He's set up. So they're trying to. Like, he's obviously trying to clear it up, and I get that. But god damn, man. And then there's more. So Mortal Kombat producer reveals the ugly truth about why Johnny Cage isn't in the movie. And this is the inverse article, basically. If you walked into... This is what he says. If you walked into the theatre and you didn't know anything about Mortal Kombat, would you enjoy it? We have to, by the end of the movie, get everyone caught up. So if they let us make another one, then we can start really digging into the characters. Perfectly reasonable statement to make. You have to go into making it knowing there are hardcore fans who know every single thing, but you have to be realistic. If you've ever taken your mom to a movie and she's like, what's happening? And you're like, Mom, shut the F up. That's the problem with Mortal Kombat. It's so goddamn complicated. Cole asks the questions. Who? What's happening? And he gets the answers. And that makes sense, having a point of view character. You do need point of view characters for the world. But then it's the other comments that just let it down. There are a lot of characters in the Mortal Kombat universe, and there's no character I could take and dust off and give a new backstory. We needed somebody to completely manipulate, so there's not 30 years of people going, you can't do that. Which, yeah, makes perfect sense. And that's why we get Cole, which does make sense. But again, it's these comments. These are not good comments. I feel like if I was getting to make a movie with a diverse cast, it felt weird to have a white actor, literally Johnny Cage, be the hero of the story. These discussions took place at the start of the movie's pre-production nearly 7 years ago, way before BLM and other pushes for diversity across industries, including Hollywood. I almost think that reflects even worse, in fairness. You know? Because that's just their actual thoughts, which is just weird. And don't get me wrong, I agree. If you're having a predominantly Asian cast and you're trying to set it in that tone and style, yeah, it makes sense to keep it in that tone, style, and aesthetic, right? It does. But they've not done that because you've got Kano. They haven't done it, so it just doesn't make any sense. And it's their comments about you don't have to have him as the lead; you can have him drop in at the end. There's so many ways you could do it. It's just so weird, so weird. Very odd comments. So whatever. Yeah, not good, Todd. Todd, my dude, Todd Garner, sorry, not good. You need to get online and actually clarify your statements a little bit more, because you're sounding awfully racist. And remember, activists and fans, one are consumers, one are not. Please pander to the right group. You don't even have to pander to them. That's the thing. Just don't insult them.